Hello,
You're still muted.
everybody.
Oh, there you
Hello. Yeah, Streamyard is asshole right now. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Thursday Singles with me and Mara. Hope you're all doing well. Mara, how you doing?
Tired, but good. So I watched this, or I
All
rewatched this Tuesday, I want to say. So I think so I can't remember if I
nice.
watched it Tuesday or yesterday. That's how tired I am.
All right. I watched it this morning, so
But we're all doing well.
anyway, we are going to be discussing The Rock. Um, I will also be doing a small shout out to Critic List, which I will actually do now to get it out of the way because the more windows I have open, the slower my stream will be. So I just recently got on Critic List and I brought up The Rock here to give you guys an idea of what I'm doing. This website is excellent for doing your own reviews. You can review TV shows, movies. In the next couple of weeks, I think they're actually going to start doing video game reviews as well. So yeah, that's interesting. I mean, scores, categories like themes, language, political bias, family friendly, violence, sexual activity, or nudity. And as I
Hmm.
pointed out, there's no nudity, but there is a sex scene in the film. And other people, you could do friends with benefits on this, which means that you can see their content as it comes up. Criticless is an a Rotten Tomatoes alternative, folks. So it's definitely one to consider using if you because unlike on Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb and all those other ones, you won't be censored. It allows for a myriad of people to have different opinions and none will be censored. So yeah, that's actually a pretty cool site to check out. I mean, my friend OMB Reviews, Odin, shout out to him. I checked it out at his behest, and he's right. It is quite addicting because I started doing a bunch of freaking reviews the second I got into it. So yeah, I'm currently working on the MCU list. But yeah, anyway, we're going to be talking The Rock. And with that, Mara, why don't you let everybody know where they can find you?
We can
And
find me on my
I'll
YouTube
be saying
channel.
hi to the chat.
You can find me on the YouTube channel Jade Shadow. Primarily been focusing on streams because, well, just just to me, there hasn't really been much to talk about because I don't talk about anything that I don't care about. So if I don't care about a particular topic, I don't care if it's trending on Twitter, I don't make a video on it. But trust me, once season 2 of Rings of Power drops, I will be making videos about that because guaranteed, the shill articles will start ramping up, and the Rings of Power defenders will be coming out of the woodwork. So videos will be ramping up starting then. In the meantime, you can catch me, like I said, either my YouTube channel for streams at Jade Shadow, my Kick, that's also under Jade Shadow, where I primarily do my gaming streams now, and occasionally on Twitch, Jade_Fire, where I try to do maybe once or twice a week, depending on my schedule, so I don't completely give that up. Currently playing through the Separate Ways DLC for Resident Evil 4 on that channel whenever I am able to stream there. But yeah, that's where you can find me.
Alrighty. And as you all know, you could find me here on my channel on Criticless and on Twitter mostly. That's or where you can all find me. Hey, Davian, good to see you. Thank you for stopping in. And yep, Friday night I might be doing the Orange Hat Uncensored. So look for me there. Or the stream goes up live right right then. I don't have it planned because it's a mirror stream. But yeah. So moving on to the movie. Let me share the screen. Hopefully this works and doesn't slow it down too much. What did you think of the movie, or give your brief thoughts on the movie before we get started?
It's that this The Rock and Con Air are probably, I would say, my top two Nicolas Cage movies. I very much enjoy it. You can definitely see the Michael Bay touches in the action sequences. Because I remember I was rewatching, like I said, like a day or two ago, and I'm watching the car chase scene, and I'm like, in reality, that wouldn't, like, the extent of that would not happen. That is Michael Bay all the fucking way in that car chase scene. But it's like it basically keeps you on the edge of your seat right from the get-go. Once the movie starts, it has enough of a build-up to, like, basically, so you're aware of the different characters and what they do without it dragging, like, in your full-on exposition. So it gives you enough so you're not lost, but at the same time it just jumps in the deep end right away. So
yeah. So I am going to be touching on a few more, or it's not going to go scene by scene. We are going to basically hit important spots. However, we are also probably going to be quoting the hell out of this movie. But one of the things I really love about this movie is the music. The score is freaking great. And they actually use the adventure score of this film on Con Air's trailer, which is pretty cool in itself. I also got my talking points here, folks. So The Rock was originally written by David Weisberg and Douglas S. Cook. They were not movie heavyweights at all. Mark Rosner came in for rewrites. The three of them would get sole credit, but other screenwriters would do rewrites, like Aaron Sorkin, Jonathan Hensleigh, and even Quentin Tarantino. The Writers Guild stepped in and told the studio that they only wanted the first three writers credited, much to Bay's objections. So, yeah, this was before Bay had full notoriety or had fame at this point. So, yeah, studios were fighting with Bay. And, no, Gigawatt, I still have the orange hat. It's just me giving my opinions, whether I like them or not. And I'm more likely to hurt feelings. Let's just say that, Gigawatt. I do believe Hans Zimmer did the music. I cannot state that for a fact, though. That's the one thing I didn't look up right now. But yes, I do believe this was, hey, Cowman, good to see it. I do believe that this was Bay's second film. But the beginning basically has, you have a very sympathetic villain here, to the point where he's not even, or I wouldn't even consider him a villain. This is a guy who had commanded soldiers in illegal ops all over the world at the behest of the U.S. government. And he's lost men. So this is a man in pain. And he's tried all of the roles, he's tried all of the steps to take, going to Congress and whatnot. Nothing worked. So he's decided that, well,
which is accurate, unfortunately, to how it works. Like, from just my personal experience, there is a lot of red tape, and generally, if it's something quote unquote illegal, meaning not exactly officially sanctioned. I mean, but when I say officially sanctioned, I mean like, what am I thinking? Like, it's like when it's covert operations and like there's deniability to it,
Yeah.
then yeah, like you're screwed.
They're black
You're
ops
pretty much screwed at
essentially.
that point. Yeah, like you're pretty much screwed.
Yep.
So
I mean, and the thing is, in this movie, I'm gonna have to play a little bit. There we go. In this movie, by the way, before we go any further, I do not own rights to The Rock. I am simply under fair use, allowing this or stills and whatnot a little bit here and there to be shown. Do not worry, I'm not going to show the adult scene to Buena Vista. So yeah, keep your panties or don't get your panties in a twist. Does Buena Vista even exist anymore? But anyway, so yes, Hummel is visiting his wife Barbara, who died the year previous, and he is essentially telling or saying, "I miss you so much. I have to do this because nothing else has worked. Please do not think any less of me." And I do believe he left his silver star on her grave as he walked away.
I think that was. Well, I mean, I again, like, I think it was a Medal of Honor, because didn't they say he was a Congressional Medal of Honor?
Get it. Yeah, he won he did win it. There we go. He won a Congressional Medal of Honor, I do believe. Yes. Sorry for the buffering, folks. I can't really help that. So this movie, I mean, you really feel for this man. This man it's like pretty much the end, or for most of you gamers out there, you might know Metal Gear Solid 3. Have you played that? Or I'm pretty sure you've played that game.
Third one, no. I never really got into the Metal Gear games. I have played some of the Phantom Pain. So.
Yeah, because you were doing the quiet streams.
Yeah.
But yeah, the character of Boss in Metal Gear Solid 3 essentially was reviled as a traitor who nuked Russia with a low yield nuke. Turns out it wasn't her, but they had to place the blame on her in order to ease tensions between Russia and the United States. And so the main character in the game, who later becomes Big Boss, but is known as Naked Snake, has to kill her. But during the mission, we find out she's been sabotaging the enemy this whole time, but still has to die at the agent's hand, because that is the mission. And or if you do not complete it, well, you can't go home either. So it's essentially you either do the mission or you are denounced completely, denied existence, essentially. So yes, let's play this a little bit just to get this part here. Yep, that is a Medal of Honor.
Yeah, so that is probably that is the biggest fuck you. Not to the wife, but to the U.S. government, leaving that, because that is the highest award bestowed. And he basically left it.
Military. Yeah. He left it on the grave to go about his mission. Now, you know what? So moving on, he goes into a Navy weapons yard and steals VX gas. Now, when this movie was coming out, there was very little known about VX gas, and they exaggerate the effects of it in this movie. However, it is still
it's still lethal.
It's still one of the deadlier nerve gases. Yes, It's still one of the deadlier ones. But yeah, let's see if I can actually show you what they do to a guy in this with the VX gas.
Yeah, because part of it accidentally breaks.
One of the things get loose and pearl breaks. But yeah, this is basically, that's just the start of what happens. Your skin starts melting, your body will spasm, and it's rough shit, man.
Yeah.
So
and unfortunately they had to leave, and there was no way that they could, like, even if they didn't abandon him, he was dead shortly. Like, he would have been dead shortly after. So unfortunately they had to, especially since they couldn't open the door because the gas was released in the room. And I like this scene, how that scene all that entire sequence plays out, because it kind of shows you, at least sets the foundation of Ed Harris being a sympathetic villain, because they don't kill any of the military on that base. They use darts to knock them out for 30 minutes while they procure the VX. So that tells you he's still he's not ruthless. Like deep down, he's not ruthless. Yeah. He's angry. He's frustrated.
He's hurt.
Yeah, deep down, he's not ruthless.
Yeah, and they use freaking like beanbag ammunition as well against these guys, or against the Navymen, because again, they're not, or their actions would or later will be considered terrorism. However, they do not see themselves acting as terrorists, even though what they are doing does fall under the technical definition of terrorism, using violence for, or not for political gain, but to pursue political agenda.
Yeah.
So then we get introduced to Stanley Goodspeed. And I'm going to pause it a little bit here and there, folks, but this is, that'll be $5, Isherwood. You suck. And then we get this little tidbit here. And there we go. So yeah, they're in a lab. Then they start getting a sarin gas scare, which was intercepted by the FBI because there was a suspicion of sarin gas in a package sent to a Bosnian refugee camp by Serbians. So yeah, Serbians hate Bosnians. And they're checking out the package.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, I see we have some dirty magazines, Stone Age cave girls in the raw, kinky. And not a good sign with the gas mask. Now,
and only one gas mask, meaning like they fully expected them, the refugees, to fight over
to open it. Yeah.
Or someone to open it, but with providing only one gas mask, is seeing them fight over it.
Yeah, that's peak terror right there, folks. That's sadistic. But Isherwood, I gotta say here, man, it's like, dude, what you just did, despite the happy ending at the end, you should be fucking fired.
Yeah.
You're a trainee and you are fucking with a baby doll that had the gas in it, when it's like, this is a serious suspicion of a terrorist action and you are literally fucking around.
Yeah.
Because lo and behold, the damn baby was carrying the damn sarin. And it's like, shit, dude, really? So yeah. And it's corrosive and it's eating their suits. The real bad news is there's enough C4 to blow the chamber and kill everyone in the building. So Stanley has to deactivate it. It's like, tell them to take the atropine. The atropine, what? Or inject it into your heart before your suit melts. And oh my God, it's like, look at this. I can't see shit, man. I
Yeah,
mean, oh my
and those
god,
needles
this
are long.
whole
On those
fucking
like
scene.
those not like
Well,
they're like basically they're accurate in how long those needles are because you basically whenever you're in that situation. Thankfully, I was never in that situation. But if you had to be, you basically literally had to stab yourself real hard and like just pump that stuff into your
because you got
body.
to go through bone.
Yeah, so it had to be long.
Chances are you're going through bone. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he's like, and you see that Stanley's like, get that away from me. So you know he's afraid of needles, and you see they brought in roaches, by the way, for basically like canaries, and they all start freaking exploding due to the sarin gas. I mean, yeah. And he's starting to freak out, and it's like, oh crap, dude. Minute 10. Yeah, the atropine. Let's see if I can.
Should look familiar. One of the scientists. He was the foster dad, I believe, in T2. So.
Yep, Xander Berkeley. Yep. Yeah. What are you doing, Stanley? You take the fucking needle now.
Yeah.
Oh my god! Look at the size of those fucking things.
I told you.
Get that away from me.
You're stabbing yourself.
Yeah. I love that, dude. It's like, look how big this is. You want me to stick this into my heart? Are you fucking nuts?
Yes. Yeah.
It's like fucking hilarious. But Stanley ends up getting it done and defusing the bomb. And yeah.
At the very least, Aisha Wood should have been suspended because I'm like, you don't do that shit.
Yeah, you don't fuck around in these situations.
No.
I mean, no, you just don't. And that's basically, it's like you picked up the one thing that was actually carrying the gas.
Yeah.
So he goes home and is playing guitar, listening to the Beatles. By the way, he bought a $600 freaking LP of the Beatles, a record. Mm-hmm. His girlfriend would be pissed if she found out, but she didn't.
Well, he had it mailed to his place of employment for that very reason.
Yeah. Yeah. And so they're talking about how good the day goes, care package, box of goodies. And he's then saying anybody who's wants to bring a kid into the world, it should be considered a cold act of cruelty.
Yeah.
And so, well, what's the news that she has? I'm pregnant. It's like, the fuck?
It's one of those things where it's like you knew it was coming based on the dialogue. Mm-hmm. But the expression on his face is like, what?
Yeah.
And she had asked him, like, did you mean that what you said? Like, what did I say? Like, about being an act of cruelty? I was like, well, I meant it at the time. That was 7.5 seconds ago. did you mean it? Like you said it 7.5 seconds ago.
7.5 seconds ago. Yeah. And it's like, oh my God. Hey, Riot, good to see you. Thank you for stopping in. But yeah, man. So she starts kind of like, well, I'm Catholic, I'm pregnant. This is a serious problem, because while they're celebrating the pregnancy, more like consummating, he gets called because, well, they have a situation. And the situation is covered in the next scene, which is, let's see here. Oh, yeah, that's right. The takeover of Alcatraz. Now, more stuff here, folks. How's my audio? Is it coming in right? And am I like freezing at all? Just want to.
It stutters for me, but it's not bad at times. Yeah. But I attribute that to being Chromebook. So.
Yeah, sorry about that, folks. It's a Chromebook. It's nothing I can do about that. I'm saving up. Don't worry. But I will share this tab. That way I can get rid of the tab. There is a point in this, or we discussed National Treasure 2 yesterday, folks. Now, there's a scene in this movie with a guy in a Humvee. And there was a scene in National Treasure 2 with a guy in a Humvee. Turns out, it's the same guy. Hans Struhe.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is something I actually showed her yesterday because, well, we were discussing National Treasure 2. But, yeah, I just wanted to throw this in there, folks. It's the same guy who gets a Hummer stolen in both movies. And it's like, what the
second time he's like, fuck, I should get a different type of vehicle because Humvees keep getting taken.
Right? Yeah, right. So yeah, now that that's done, we'll go back to this one, and we can actually exit out of that one. That should actually clear it up just a tiny bit more. Don't tell me this thing. Yeah, it reset. Son of a gun. So yeah, they take over Alcatraz, but get this, folks. Another thing here. Sean Connery had some requests for the film. One was to be co-producer. Another was to have Dick Claremont and Ian Lafremis to write his dialogue in order to make it sound more British, as they had worked on British comedies and worked with him on Never Say Never Again. And due to the constant boats between the island for filming, he requested a cabin be built on the grounds of Alcatraz to avoid constant boating. So for a time of the filming, Sean Connery's place of residence was Alcatraz Island.
I wouldn't blame him. I wouldn't exactly blame him. So, and I did find it funny whenever he was called a British prick in the movie. So I was like, just in the back of my mind, Sean Connery's Scottish because like the man he was fighting was Irish.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like you all have something in common. like you both hate the British. So it's like,
yeah, it's oh yeah. So they're taking over the Rock, and these lines of the people who got locked up were actually ad-libbed. What kind of a fucked up tour is this? And also, I like how he sends the girls home on the boat. He tells the student or the girls to get back on the boat with their teacher and get out of there. I mean, again, sympathetic.
Yeah.
Okay, this is not going to work. So I'm going to have to, or I'm sorry, folks, but I'm not going to be able to show the rest of them or anything else of the movie because it's causing problems. I'm actually noticing that my internet signal is actually dropping. So sorry about that, folks. We can't exactly show it anymore. Also, that's Movies Anywhere. They're also a prick. But anyway, the original director for The Rock was meant to be Tony Scott, but he turned it down as he was already working on The Fan. So Bay was chosen as he worked with Bruckheimer and Simpson. So Jerry Bruckheimer and Don Simpson, who, when we were discussing the Con Air last week, Bruckheimer and Don Simpson weren't working because, well, he would die, or Don Simpson died shortly or the year prior. And it turns out he died in the middle of this film being made. So, yeah, this movie is dedicated into the memory of Don Simpson. So we get the takeover of Alcatraz, and we get more Marines coming in that didn't serve under him. Tony Todd, Candyman, and other great actors are the Marines. The one from Gremlins 2 plays one of the Marines, the one that was delivering the package to the lab and started whistling the Mogwai song.
Breaking Bad, he's one of the Marines. Also, John C. McGinley is one of the Marines. And I just, while I was watching the movie, just on the back of my mind, goes, oh, his character survived the fall, changed his name, went to medical school, became a doctor, and joined that hospital.
I'm pretty sure that they never show his legs in Scrubs. So you never know. He could have survived.
You never know. Yeah, he could have survived. and changed his name and went to medical school.
One of the things I love about that show, Scrubs, was where they were, or Dr. Kelso, the situation where, or that dream sequence, or so to speak, when he comes in very angry and just starts beating the shit out of everybody.
I know. I love that.
Oh
I love
my
it. Like I love it.
That
Like
is-
people made it as a GIF because like that is like, oh my god,
Yeah.
just like,
It's like, hey, Dr. Kelso, crack. Oh.
and he like just kicks a guy
So
in the
not cool.
wheelchair, like like he like crosses his path, he just kicks him out of the
Yeah.
way. Kicks him.
Yeah. Oh my god, it's just so freaking great. So then another fun fact about this movie, folks, is that this is one of two movies by Michael Bay that are directly linked in my head, but also is very quite possibly that they could be directly linked, because the other movie being Armageddon, the same person who is the president in this film plays the president in Armageddon, which takes place in 1997 or 1998. So it's the same administration. And yeah, it's called the President Stanley Anderson administration. This dude had to deal with a domestic terror incident and a potential world-ending event in his entire presidential administration. So, yeah, suck it, Bill Pullman. You may have dealt with aliens and then turned the U.S. into a one world government bit, but this dude pretty much also was responsible for helping the world get saved as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah. What was your thoughts about, or how did you like the takeover of Alcatraz? What were your thoughts on it?
So, well, in a way, like, makes sense picking that, obviously, that island to as a base of operations, because it's while it's open for tours, it's relatively empty.
It's isolated as well.
Yeah, it's isolated. It's close to San Francisco, so it's someone with crazy enough to put their hands on the button to send a rocket that way. Makes sense. Oh, yeah. And also it incorporated, the fact that it used to be a prison. So when they bring in Sean Connery's character, it's like, he's one of the few that actually escaped Alcatraz. So we're going to need him for that very reason. And I also did like, I've never taken a tour of Alcatraz, so I don't know exactly if this is actually part of the tour. But when the tour guide put the people in the cells, and he pretty much did the work for Ed Harris.
Yeah, it's like, I'm not allowed to carry a gun. Oh, you're not allowed to carry a gun. If I would have known this was going to happen, I would have brought my motherfucking gun.
Yeah, I know.
So, yeah, they actually allowed them to ad-lib during the whole thing.
Yeah.
Or the people in the cells to actually ad-lib. So another fun fact, The Rock was meant to be a vehicle for Schwarzenegger. Arnold didn't like the script and turned it down and chose Eraser instead. He would later admit he regretted the decision.
No shit. I was like,
yeah.
I'm like, well.
Hey, man, you made the decision at the time. Got to live with it.
Yeah.
But at least he admitted that he regretted the decision because he was going to play the Goodspeed character. Now,
actually, I can't see that.
Neither can I. It's like, I know you played a scientist in Twins, but that was a comedy. I'm not seeing you do that much here, man. So it's like, holy crap. But it's probably good.
No, because I don't see. I really do not see that line from Sean Connery. Losers whine about their best. Winners go home and fuck the prom queen. I don't see him delivering that line to Arnold.
Yeah. Carla was the prom queen.
Yeah, I really do not see him delivering that line to Arnold.
Right?
Yes.
So, yeah. We get the takeover, and then he calls the FBI. The FBI Director Walmack. And, folks, they picked the perfect actor to do that job, or for Walmack, because, oh my God, he is such a sleaze in the movie. He is such an asshole. And then we get the ransom demand, where it's like $100 million taken out of the Red Sea Trading Company, and Womack is asking for clarification as to what it is, and he's like, "Identify yourself. This is FBI Director Womack, General. It's a slush fund that the Pentagon uses to bolster money for illegal, or that they got from illegal arms sales." And it's like, oh shit, he didn't know this, and the generals at the Pentagon are like, dude, that's classified. So it's like, yeah, he doesn't fucking care.
No.
Yeah.
Like, he really does not. He really does not care.
Yeah.
So I love when they
I'm
say
pretty
that.
sure
They're saying it to a man who has like rockets strapped with VX sarin gas.
Yeah.
Aimed at San Francisco. Like, he is going to care if something is classified. Well, and that's like I said, it goes back to kind of makes my eye twitch in these movies, where it's like my eye starts twitching whenever I hear the line "it's classified," because I'm like, unclassified is a classification. You can't just say it's classified, because it could just be classified, unclassified. You say it's classified, you have to tell me, is it confidential? Is it secret? Is it top secret? What? Like, you can't, but it doesn't sound as cool. Like, oh, it's classified. People automatically think it's secret. I'm like, no. No, it does not necessarily mean that, because a classification could be unclassified for official use only. That's a classification.
Yep.
So my eye just twitches.
Yeah.
But I would say at that point it would be a top secret classification. So again, it goes back to my point where someone who has rockets strapped with VX gas aimed at San Francisco is not going to care if he's revealing top secret information.
No. And so he tells them, it's like, you refuse payment, I launch the gas. You alert the media, I launch the gas. I'm aware of your countermeasure. You know, and I know it doesn't stand a chance. Which is, or their countermeasure is napalm. Except that VX in the movie is specifically designed to withstand napalm. And that's where thermite plasma comes in, which is in a test phase. And Hummel knows this. And we also have this young freaking White House chief of staff who basically got slapped down by a Hummel. It's like, who is this? Identify yourself. White House chief of staff. Hayden Sinclair. How old are you? 33. Well, by your 9th birthday, I was running Black Ops into China, so shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
But then he makes it even worse. It's like, what is the average casualty rate for one standard rocket of VX poison gas? 60 to 70. Well, that's not so bad. 1,000. 70,000 dead.
Yeah.
It's like, oh. It's like, dude, you're supposed to be the freaking chief of staff, and you don't understand that when they are saying 60 or 70 in military, that's usually, most likely, they're talking into the thousands.
Yeah, it's normally
they don't,
1,000.
or they do shorthand sometimes.
Yeah.
But I love, or it's like, yikes, man. So Michael Biehn, every movie I have seen Michael Biehn in, he ends up getting his ass killed. But I just realized that Michael Biehn is just as bad as Sean Bean. What is it? The Curse of the Beans?
Yeah, but he's a very good actor.
Yes, he is.
He's tasked.
He's playing the SEAL.
The Rock.
Yeah. And they're like, or you studied the architectural plans? No, sir. Alcatraz has been ripped up and remodeled over decades. Under there is a maze of shit. And what about anybody who worked there. They're all, or some are dead, most are useless. There's one guy that could help us. This is a matter of national security. No, it's national security that got us in this mess. Forget it. He doesn't exist. And it's like, he does exist. We just forget it for 30 years. We locked him up and threw away the key. And, well, good as that did, is he broke out of 2 maximum security prisons. And if he hits the streets, it's like, dude, he is my age now. I have to get up 3 times a night to take a piss. But, man, the cutting while this conversation was happening and a little after it, of them, or of the G-Men basically getting John Mason, his books, or his cell is stacked with philosophy books. And his hair is freaking long, ragged. There is a theory, folks. Are you aware of the James Bond theory, Mara?
With this, no.
Well, I got it right here. The James Bond theory, that being that Sean Patrick Mason was actually Sean Connery's James Bond, and that this was Connery's last outing as Bond. Both characters were MI6. Well, he was SAS in this. But the theory also speculates that Bond was captured by the American government and locked up in Alcatraz and escaped before the events of Dr. No. And after the events of Diamonds Are Forever, he was caught again by the U.S. and locked up in a maximum security prison. Now, that doesn't exactly fly, because he escaped Alcatraz in 1962, but there is a very big inconsistency in this movie, which was that he stole a microfilm, tried to get across the Canadian border, got locked up in 1962. Right?
Yeah.
Well, some of the stuff on the microfilm takes place after 1962, namely the Kennedy assassination.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, you locked him up for the microfilm in 1962, and it's like, this guy knows our most intimate secrets for the last half century. The truth behind the Roswell landing in Mexico, the truth behind the JFK assassination. And then at the end, you also have Stanley. It's like, honey, you want to learn who, or you want to know who really killed JFK? Did J. Edgar Hoover know the future? I'm starting to wonder, man. I am starting to wonder. But why would the Americans capture him? That's another question, Trey, because the James Bond theory doesn't really work. However, it would be a nice little fan fiction for some. But yeah, so they bring him out, and they get to the San Francisco office. I also like how Womack is talking with Goodspeed about, he's like, what can you tell me about VX? And he accidentally diverts off into champagne. And it's like, the gas, Dr. Goodspeed. It's really, really horrible, sir. It's one of the things we wish we could disinvent. So, yeah. So then we get I love the interrogation scene with Sean Connery. I mean, this is a scene, folks. You could have got him an award. Because, as well as Nick Cage, too, because it's like, hi, I'm with the FBI. Well, I'm Stanley Goodspeed. But of course you are. Well, at least you got his name right.
I know. I mean, to be fair, like, Nicolas Cage did play that very well, because it is implied in the dialogue that he has no experience whatsoever with interrogation.
Yeah.
So he's pretty much.
He's like, I'm not qualified for that.
Yeah, he comes in and right off the bat, you're like, he's definitely not qualified for that.
Yeah. He's like, coffee. Oh, no, thank you. I'm fine. Offer me coffee.
It's like that's the procedure. Yeah. You offer me coffee. You're trying to play good cop, bad cop. You're the good cop. Now offer me coffee.
Yeah. And offer to take these off. The cuffs. He's like, go ahead and take his handcuffs off. And then actually fucking do it. It's like, Jesus Christ, dude. What Sean Connery, are you a fucking Jedi or some shit? But yeah, so he discovered, or they have a nice little thing. Also, William Forsythe interrogated him first and tossed a quarter his way, which turned out to be a big mistake. Because, well, he uses the leg of his chair to smash the side of the quarter, sharpening it or making it thinner and making it more sharp, so to speak.
Mhm.
So after the pardon has been offered to John Mason, a full pardon, mind you, for helping them, he's just standing up next to the wall or next to the two-way mirror, and, well, Womack rips up the pardon. And he was also talking about three people, Alexander Solzhenitsyn, Alchematus, and who was the other one? Sir Walter Raleigh. All three, and Nick Cage calls out Womack on it. He's like, it's kind of curious, sir. Solzhenitsyn, Raleigh, Alchematus, they were all wrongfully imprisoned. So, yeah, that's when Sean Connery starts cutting the glass and then breaks through, sees that it's Womack. And then he turns around. Hey, peace, peace, peace. It's like, that peace. So we get to the Fairmont, and what's his name? I can't remember his name. I think he was in one of those Will and Grace show, or I think it was Will and Grace. I can't remember which one. One of the 90s shows, and he was the stylist and the barber. Well, and also,
oh yeah, he was in it was one of the 90s shows, but it's like well, he's been in like a couple 90s shows, because there was one that was set in Boston, I believe, and one where it's like he's I believe it's kind of like one of those like marriage humor shows. I'd have to look him up, but yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I can't remember.
And I love that. It's like, just clippers, no scissors. No scissors. You got to be kidding. No scissors. I mean, did they tell Picasso no brush? With scissors, this man can kill you. I can't cut somebody's balls off with a trimmer now, can I?
Yeah.
Anthony Clark is his name.
Yeah, I'm looking him up. I know. I can see the shows. I can see the shows. But I can't come up with the names.
Let's see here. We're both searching at the same time.
Boston Common. Right. I knew one was set in Boston. Boston Common and Yes Dear. I remember those. Yes Dear. Yes Dear was like early 2000, but Boston Common I remember as well. Those two shows I kind of like used to watch. So yeah, those two shows I remember.
Fights.
Boston Common was the one that's close to the Rock.
Oh my God, man.
And then Yes Dear was like early to like 2000, 2006. So
yeah. So yeah, okay. And by the way, while I had my mom explain this to me because I absolutely had no idea why they had rope just on the wall. And she's like, in case you wanted to hang your clothes. And it's like, okay, that makes sense. Because he finds this thing of rope and just starts pulling it out while he's singing off key to San Francisco. Good song, by the way. I mean, it's a nice song from a much better era. But I loved it.
I did like the barber San Francisco was cowering in the elevator, and he's like, just tell me one thing. Did you like your haircut? just tell me one thing.
Yeah, it's like, all I really care about is, are you happy with your haircut?
I just love that. I love that.
But another fun fact, folks, because we're actually at the scene. Let's see here. the scene at the Fairmont where Mason throws Womack over the edge let's just say that there was a lot of onlookers, and a lot of them called 911. And 911 had to explain to all those onlookers, yeah, they're shooting a movie at the Fairmont. Sorry, or it's completely or it's okay. There's nothing really bad going on. So it's like, holy shit. It's like, didn't you guys clear this with the right people?
So I think they cleared it with the right people. They just never bothered for some reason to like at least let it be known to the general public that, hey, like there's gonna be a movie shot here.
So yeah, as mentioned before, most of the filming was shot on Alcatraz, but unfortunately was not easy, as they had to accommodate the tours going on at the location. Other locations include L.A. and San Francisco. The stunt where Womack was thrown over, and the car chase required hundreds of signatures of approval in order to be able to film it. Because, well, yeah, they kind of wreck half the city. Let's see here. Where is it? All right. So, all right, got it there for the next time. So Mason basically breaks out, steals a Hummer from the guy, or from that Hans Truba. And I love that. It's like, he calls him up. Hello? You're having a Hummer stolen. And he's like, I'm only borrowing your Humvee. But then you hear it, because you hear like shortly after information, San Francisco, Jade Angelou, and it's like, only now did I realize that he was in a different call, not with the German guy. Because when I saw it earlier in life, I thought that he was giving the guy insurance information and basically throwing his daughter under the bus. But no, he was actually searching for his daughter through the 1011 information line.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, well, yeah, now it makes sense. Because he also called to basically have her show up at the Palace of Fine Arts. Now, Claire Forlani plays Jade Angelou, who she actually is quite a talented actress. NCIS LA, CSI New York, a few other bit parts in movies and whatnot. Very attractive young woman at the time. But, yeah. I like that conversation between him and his daughter. It's like, I'm not an evil man. And if you can believe that, then that's a start. And she's like, but I barely even know you. That's what I want to change. I've rehearsed this 1,000 times in the off chance we would meet. And now that we're here, I'm lost. But it's such a tender scene, because especially with the music, with the Scottish flute, or with the Gaelic flute. And it's like, God damn, that's such good music, man. It's Mason's theme, essentially, is how I identify it. James Bond couldn't keep it in his pants. Now he has an American daughter. James Bond could never keep it in his pants, Gigawatt. The Fairmont Hotel is much bigger in person. I have heard that, Brett Humans. I have heard that. And oh, yes, the bus driver. It wasn't a bus driver. It was a, what do they call them? What do they call them, Mara? The guy that was trolley.
Yeah, like he's like basically a trolley conductor.
Trolley, yeah. How y'all doing? Or how you doing, y'all? How y'all doing today? And then they get, or go ahead.
I would hazard to guess that they like primarily picked San Francisco just so they could do the action scenes down that infamous hill.
Yeah. And then they end up knocking the trolley off the track, and he's like, we're gonna crash. Save yourselves. And he's like, I mean, this dude is like, a captain going down with his ship. Oh, and then he sees it. It's like, God damn, this sucks. Where is that son of a bitch? I'm gonna hunt him down. That motherfucker ain't safe nowhere. Oh my god, man. So then after Stanley Goodspeed puts Mason's daughter's mind at ease, she's like, you broke out of prison again, didn't you? Why did you come to me? Actually, he's helping us resolve a dangerous matter.
Yeah,
so
like all these
yeah,
like cars with sirens, like like show up because Goodspeed was like found him, was watching him, and he's like, "Oh shit, I got to defuse the situation because all these cars are coming with sirens blaring."
Yeah, and I love it. It's like, this about you? Mm-hmm. He just gives that nod. That's like, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But I love it. It's like, thank you for that. You could have handled it differently. And he's actually being grateful to Goodspeed, but Goodspeed is kind of pissed off because he's like, you almost got me killed twice, and my jaw hurts like hell.
Yeah.
Good. Freaking Walmack's all casted up because his arm got busted. And so Carla's arriving in San Francisco, and then we get the planning for the incursion, and Mason literally talks the SEALs into having him go along. I mean, that dude is a master manipulator. It's like, you're not goddamn go. Show us on the blueprints. I can't. My blueprint was in my head.
Yeah, he can't. Yeah, like he's not exactly like he helped build the prison.
Yeah,
and it was pretty much made clear before that scene. Changes have been made, so it's like. Even if you were to say, okay, here's what I did, here's what I did, here's what I did, you could get there and it would not match at all what he remembered.
Yeah.
Because it's been over 30 years at that point.
Yep. And I love that. It's like, I was on the ground for 3 days in the dark. You're not going, Mason. If he has intel I need, then he goes. He'll fuck with you. Yeah. Compromise my men's safety, I'll bury you out there. I mean, it's that simple. It's like, dude, I'll kill you. If you fuck with us, I'll kill you in the first shot. We're SEALs. We'll do that. And then Stanley Goodspeed learns he's going, and it's like, define combat. And so you have that younger SEAL given the whole situation. He's like, well, in that case, no, sir. Excuse me. And William Forsythe does not get enough credit as Paxton in this movie. Because honestly, after he learns what happened, or that Womack tore up the pardon, he's more sympathetic to Mason. That's actually understandable, because at the end, when he tells Womack that he was vaporized, and he's walking away smiling, he knows that Goodspeed's bullshitting him.
Yeah, I know. You
but
can
he's
see on
willing
his face,
to go
like,
along with Goodspeed.
Smiles, like, you know, it's like kind of like, well, it happens, or like he knows deep down that Goodspeed is lying.
Yep. I mean, he knows for a fact that Goodspeed's bullshit, and it's like, and I'm like, oh my god, William Forsythe does not get enough credit in his work or in his acting talent. I mean, yeah, he plays that asshole stepdad in the freaking Halloween movies, or the Rob Zombie Halloween movies, but honestly, he's played in such great freaking roles. I loved him in The Mentalist, where he plays Brigsby's father, who was an ex-con, and Brigsby's FBI, and it's like, oh damn, dude, that's such a great dynamic, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just our William Forsythe, dude. He also has good lines in this movie as well. It's like, well, there's a problem, sir. He's got a gun. What do you have, a fucking water pistol?
Yeah, I know. I know when he says that to Goodspeed, like he has a gun. Like he's like, do you have a fucking water pistol?
Yeah. And if you see Womack in that, he's like, or when he turns around, he's like, what do you got, a fucking water pistol? You see Womack, he's like, what? It's just like, did he seriously just fucking say that? I mean, oh my god.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
love that.
so we get the I like the mission speech that Michael Biehn gives. Now, Mason Mason will be on point. Lieutenant Shepard will be attached to his hip. Or you breathe, he breathes with you. You piss, he helps. And Goodspeed is our specialist. When he neutralizes a threat, we launch green flares and wait for the cavalry. But make no mistake, man, we are in the fight for our lives against maybe the greatest battalion of or commander of the Vietnam War. I shit you not. And it's like, but you're SEALs.
Well, even SEALs are like, it's like you becoming
but yes, Marines,
formidable force.
They're top tier. Yeah. To give you guys a little bit of a idea of what SEALs are, they go in and they were never there. They go in, do the shit, they weren't there. They won't leave a trace of them being there. And that's basically what the SEALs are in real life, or how the government wishes or wants them to be like. Because almost every freaking single iteration of Navy SEALs that I have seen in movies shows a fuck up in one way or another. It's like, you call yourself SEALs? You're supposed to be like better than that, I hear.
Yeah.
But then there's also Delta Force, Marine Force Recon, and whatnot. I mean, Marines and SEALs are top tier if you want an idea of what SEALs go through for their training, G.I. Jane gives not a fully accurate depiction, but very close to it. That's no joke, because they actually had actual SEALs consulting for the film. So, yeah, I highly recommend G.I. Jane for those of you who want to learn about SEALs and learn why you never want to join the SEALs unless you are peak freaking Spartan physicality. So they get on the island, and Mason immediately breaks their entire freaking plan, because it's like, you told me to stay on his hip, sir, but stand fast. You catch one of those flame bursts, you're a corpse. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Have a nice day. And it's like, you think he might just fucking leave him there to die. No, he doesn't. He actually lets him in, which is nice.
Yeah.
And we get the line, "Welcome to the Rock." Now, folks, personally, I wish the Rock was actually reopened as a prison, because they're all bitching about fucking prison overcrowding these days. And it's like, well, if you're too pussy to do the death or to enforce the death penalty, make more prisons instead of shutting them down. Because I just learned that they're shutting down like 15 state prisons in the New York area. It's like, Jesus Christ, are you out of your mind? But anyway, back to the movie. And a little bit more stuff here. Don Simpson died during the production of The Rock, as I mentioned. He died from a heart attack believed to have been brought on by, quote-unquote, substances. Why is it people in Hollywood do not lay off the powder? Ugh. But anyway, apparently there was a lot of ad-libbing in the movie. Most of Cage's lines were ad-libbed. He also took inspiration from Hooper, from Jaws, for his character. Do you see it?
For which character in The Rock? You broke up there. I couldn't.
Stanley Goodspeed. Yeah, Nick Cage took inspiration from Hooper in Jaws for Stanley Goodspeed.
I see a little bit based on how he and how he says some of his lines. Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Yeah. All right. And there was a sequel planned for the film. The sequel would have seen Goodspeed and his wife on the run from the U.S. government, and they would have to go to Mason for help. Unfortunately, it never got made. And well, also they can't do it now because Sean Connery has since passed.
Mm-hmm.
Would have been an interesting concept though, because well, how would the government know that he stole the microfilm?
I know that's what I'm thinking, because that at that point, what would have stopped him from turning it in? Because like he would have been
Yeah.
like a hero at that point. Like, what would have stopped him from turning it in? Doesn't quite make any sense.
Mm-hmm. But then again, aiding and abetting a federal fugitive would, or if
they
he turned
find
it
out
in,
that Mason's actually alive, if they find out Mason's actually
Yeah.
alive, yeah. But as far as the government, like as far as the government's aware at this point, at the end of the movie, Mason is dead. So they would have no like reason that I can see to at all be pursuing Goodspeed and his wife, especially if Goodspeed turns into the microfilms. Like, hey, like before Mason died, he told me where he hid it. Boom, like what? Is like Mason going to deny that? It's like it's like all that's all he had to say.
True. Now, another fun fact here. Sean Connery would make the filming easier for Michael Bay by helping him deal with Walt Disney's Buena Vista department executives. There was a lot of tension between the studio and Michael Bay due to how he wanted to do his movie. And, well, the execs called him in for basically another ass reaming, and he asked Connery to join him. And Connery told them that he was doing a wonderful job and to leave him alone. They never bothered Bay again after that.
Mm-hmm.
And now I know why Sean Connery never worked for Disney.
You gotta love it. It's like he's doing fine. Let him alone.
Yeah, it's like he's doing a brilliant job. Let the man alone. Let him do his work.
Yeah.
But I used to be able to do such a good Sean Connery. I just can't do it anymore. Well, Bond, James Bond. But anyway, the scene in the shower room. Hard shit, man.
Yeah.
Gotta say. Great scene. It's like Hummel doesn't want to kill him. And unfortunately, this is a conflict of orders. It's like, I can't give that order. I'm sorry. I stand by the oath I took. You don't, unfortunately. And he even tells him, he's like, I can't give that order.
Yeah.
And so we get the shootout, and Navy SEALs, thankfully we learned it wasn't SEAL Team 6. It was one of the others. Well, we learned that SEAL Team whatever was no match for Marines in an elevated position of fire.
Yeah. They had the Marines had the high.
So. Yes, very much so. Kenobi would be proud.
It's like even like history shows us that if you typically have the high ground, you have the advantage. Like just little round top in a civil war.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And so I also like how he's like, I didn't want this, and because when they start firing, he even tells them, or he's screaming for them, cease fire.
Yeah.
Cease fire. They aren't listening. Now, you'd think that his friend, Major Baxter, would have actually listened. But once you are being fired upon, I'm guessing in the military, because I'm a civilian, I don't know. But I'm guessing that once you are fired upon, you don't stop until that threat is neutralized.
Until the threat is until the like there is no more threat. Yeah. They literally teach us to double tap.
Yeah.
So.
Mm-hmm. So then Hummel finds one of the cameras on the seal, and he's like,
because firing a gun, that is loud, especially when you don't have hearing protection and now your hearing's impacted. I say the noise, not to mention those rifles are the training kick with factors.
Mm-hmm. But you also see how Fry and Dara were actually very eager. It's like, let's waste these fuckers, and it's like, dude, you're right now at a standoff. You don't fire until fired upon. And unfortunately, it was a fucking brick that set the whole damn thing off.
Yeah.
So after all the SEALs are dead and Mason decides to take off. Well, Goodspeed tries to, or has to persuade him to stay. And he's like, okay, you want to play? You want to play with me? FBI, free sucker. Like, I'll fire. No, you won't. Throw down. I can. You not. Besides, the safety's on. It just grabs the gun and torches it back onto his face. It's like, Goodspeed, Goodspeed, have you resolved the situation?
No,
not yet.
Not yet.
He has all the guns now, sir.
He has all the guns now, sir.
Yeah, it's like, oh my God, dude. You're right. I don't kick down doors and I don't do this. This is what I do. I haven't got my reading glasses on. What it says is chemical weapons specialist. It's like, there, I got a lunatic up there, man. It was 15 rockets of some really funky stuff. So he finally convinces, or he's trying to convince Mason to stay. And, well, they find out that there's a rodent problem, as they put it, because the TAC radio and weapon are missing from one of the SEALs that dropped down into the hole. And it's like, flush the pipes. Well, they start using what's known as det packs, which are basically bombs that, well, they have a shoulder strap and shit. Take it off, flick the switch, toss it down, get the hell out. And, well, the first one blows pretty well. And then he's like, this mother's going to blow big. And it's like, what the fuck was that one? I mean, the first one's your standard det pack, which is shock, awe, and a pretty good boof, or a pretty good boom. But this one that they dropped in the, or from the shower room, what the fuck was that? I mean, is it like C4 mixed with napalm plus a little bit of Semtex? Holy shit. Because it just blows all the frick.
I remember it was like watching it going, like, even my back of my mind, I'm thinking, like, go underwater, go underwater, go underwater.
Yeah. Yep. And, I mean, folks, to give you an idea, a proper perspective, flames shooting up through all crevices in the shower room when that fucker blew. I'm thinking that would have possibly blown the shower room to shit concussively. But yeah. They finally get over to the morgue where they need, or where most of the rockets are being held. And he's like, are you ready for this? I'll try my best. Your best? Losers always whine about their bests. Winners go home and fuck the prom queen. Carla was the prom queen. Really? Yeah. I mean, and then we see one of the Marines get a knife to the throat. You must never hesitate. And we also get the lovely bit where he shoots his feet. And he's like, then crushes his head with an air conditioner. Okay, that's about the most horrible thing I've ever seen.
Yeah. Hey, you use whatever you
You've
can.
been around a lot of, yeah, you've been around a lot of corpses. Is that normal?
Oh yeah, when
the feet thing? Yeah, the feet thing.
And I'm sitting here going, yes, it is normal. It is very normal.
Yeah,
because of the impact from the AC on the brain and the nerves. Yeah, that is very normal. Yeah, like you're going to still see switching.
I mean, the head is obliterated, but the brain basically sent a shockwave down through the body to all nerve endings, and muscle spasms will happen.
Yeah, I mean, even Lord of the Rings had it.
Yeah,
it's like he was twitching.
Yep.
He was twitching because he's got my ox embedded
in his nervous system. I love that. But yeah, the scene where they're taking out the rock or the elegant pearl or string pearls configuration, and the way he describes it, it's a cholinesterase inhibitor, stops the brain from sending nerve messages down through the spine within 60 seconds. Any epidermal exposure or inhalation, and you'll know. Small twinge or a twinge at the small of your back as the poison seizes your nervous system. Your muscles freeze. You can't breathe. You spasm so hard you break your own back and spit your guts out. And I'm thinking to myself, as a kid when I was watching this,
yeah,
I'm a fucking 11-year-old watching this, and it's like, oh, I want to see it.
No, but it definitely makes you stand still when you're
as an adult. Yeah, because he also tells him, he's like, do not move that.
Yes.
And then we see those, oh my God, those pearl, or folks, the VX pearls have become a meme online, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Found these really cool looking bath salts. Might try them later tonight. I'll let you all know how they work out. Well, it might be a bubble bath, but not the kind you're expecting. I'm twisted. Anyway, they managed to get out a lot of the guidance systems, and then we see what's his name again? Have to go and get the guidance chips back, except that it doesn't exactly work out because Mason does the most practical thing when you're dealing with terrorists. Fuck it, crush them. You don't want this shit to get out there or to get back in their hands, you know? So he's like, or because they bring out a hostage and whatnot. And we get the scene between Hummel and Mason. Gotta love it. You gotta love that scene, man, because it's like he's like, I thought I've been in the army a long time. Name and rank, sailor. Army, actually. Answer the question and address him as General Sir. Captain John Patrick Mason, General Sir, of His Majesty's SAS. You're a long way from home. I mean, where are you? Or how'd you get wrapped up in all this? Well, I have a unique knowledge of this facility. I was formerly a guest here.
Yeah.
It's you can't really appreciate it as a kid, but when you hear these lines as an adult, you truly do appreciate them.
Mm-hmm.
And then tells him, he's like, oh, and this is not combat. It's an act of lunacy, General Sir. Personally, I think you're a fucking idiot. It's like, oh shit, man.
I like when they have the kind of like the battle of wits with the quotes.
Mm-hmm.
When
Hummel Liberty
quotes Thomas Jefferson and then Mason quotes Oscar Wilde.
Yeah. Patriotism is a virtue of the vicious, according to Oscar Wilde.
Yeah.
And then he's like, or hits him down. He's like, thank you for proving my point. So he then, or Mason, who is basically, I love that earlier on, he's like, or when Goodspeed asked him, he's like, how do you do it? Well, I was trained by the best, British intelligence. It's like, damn, dude, that hurts. That hurts. But yeah. Well, Stanley Goodspeed gets caught, and I love the one guy. He's like, or your lucky old man Hummel wants you alive, because I take pleasure in gutting you, boy.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I take pleasure in gutting you, boy. I'll take pleasure in gutting you, boy. And then we see how Mason got out of his cell. And it's like, How in the name of Zeus's butthole did you get out of your cell? Well, he ripped apart his bed, attached a wheel from his bunk, and used it as a pulley system. So, yeah. And I love that. He's like, trade secrets, my son.
Yeah.
I mean, this movie just has great line. This movie is extremely quotable, folks. So, well, we then see that a missile gets launched because the deadline is up. And it's like, oh, shit. So now we see whether or not Hummel was indeed bluffing. And it's heading for the Oakland Raiders game. Back when I was a fan of the Raiders, it's like, don't you fucking do it.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was a kid, folks, I was a football fan. When I was a kid, I'm not much of a sports person anymore. But when I saw that, it's like heading at Oakland football game. And I'm like, no, don't kill my Raiders. But, yeah, Hummel changes the coordinates, splashes down in the bay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And pisses off the Marines that came in that didn't serve under him. And, well, there's a freaking mutiny.
Yeah.
Because, well, yeah. Tony said it best. I'm not a soldier, Major. The day we took hostages, we became mercenaries. And mercenaries get paid.
Yes.
And it's like, this mission was based on the threat of force. I'm not about to kill 80,000 people. Do I look like I'm out of my fucking mind?
I'm like, and like you think back on the movie, like I said, like yeah, because if he truly was ruthless enough to kill thousands of people in San Francisco, he wouldn't have just had that as a threat. Someone psychotic enough to do that would threaten to kill hostages every so many hours or like 1 an hour until the demands are met. He never touched the. He used one of the hostages to try to force the government's hand. They felt like they heard like a scared hostage that they would act on his demands, but he never went out of his way to harm any of the hostages. This is a man like, and even Mason says it like, this is like, this man's not going to do anything. Like I can see it in his eyes. He's not going to do anything. He's coming from a place of anger, frustration. Yeah, he's talking about Hummel. He's talking about coming from coming from a place of anger, frustration, like all this pent up rage directed at the government, at like the
injustices,
at what had suffered under the government, and then subsequently ignored and pushed aside after they followed orders. He's not a ruthless killer. Yeah,
he's a soldier, not a murderer.
Yeah.
As Mason put it. He's like, Hummel won't do it. He's a soldier, not a murderer. No. I read it in his eyes. You've read his eyes? Well, I guess that just makes everything just fine. But, so, Goodspeed. God. Goodspeed, he's like, fine. Or you're not going anywhere, and gets the wind knocked out of him. Hey, Kate, good to see you. Thank you for stopping in.
I love one of the lines where he goes like, he's like, shh. Yeah, like he was shot by a sniper.
Some sniper's going to get his ass.
Yes. I keep making.
There's a madman in there with his finger on a button. He's like, some sniper's going to get his ass.
Yeah, I know. He's trying to.
But so then Goodspeed tries going it alone. 5 seconds later, oh no, on your knees. It's like, oh, Jesus Christ, dude.
Yeah.
So he ends up getting saved by Mason again. And Mason's like, I decided I didn't want your child growing up without a father. Hey, the last time I swam this channel, I was your age, so I'm fucked either way.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so they end up seeing the mutiny and they get Hummel out of there after he's been killed. Major Baxter's been killed, but the other two are still alive, as well as or Bokeem Woodbine's Sergeant Crisp was also killed. It's like, I'll take that sidearm. Sorry, you mean this sidearm? And I'm like, damn, dude. And
Marines are a special kind of crazy. Just saying.
Yeah.
That. They are a special kind of crazy.
Marines, some of them don't have their head on straight. Let's just say that, folks. I believe there was a study that I heard about years ago. I'm not sure if it's true or not. But it's something I heard from a news report where the ones who are the most morally compromised after their service are Marines, even though they are the most loyal to them, or because they're the most loyal to themselves, not to the military. Hence their Semper Fidelis trademark. And I'm thinking to myself, I can't really comment on that because I'm not in the military. I'm a civilian.
Mm-hmm.
And I have family members who are Marines. And I'm probably going to ask one of my uncles about that because he was a Marine. And it's like, is it, or there is a speculation that Marines are less loyal to the military and more loyal to each other. Is that, or just curious on that?
I can't speak for Marines, but I could say I can see that because,
well, yeah,
it's like you're more loyal to your wingman or your battle buddy. Like you couldn't give a fuck about like the branch you serve overall. Like you respect it, like you serve, but your focus is the man or woman standing next to you, protecting them. So,
I mean, they're the ones in the mud and blood with you. It's not the government. The government just told you what to do.
Yeah. So, I would say I agree with that.
Yeah, and fun thing, because, well, while we're on the subject of Marines, my great uncle, everybody always called him Pokey, my great uncle Pokey, he was thrown in the brig during I believe the Korean conflict because they had come under fire. I think it was Korea. I can't remember which one it was specifically, but they were under fire, and one of his companions were out in open area. He defied a direct order to stay put, rescuing the man and direct order. When what he should, or I can understand the need to follow orders, but he saved a man's life. You know, I'm pretty sure the man was actually quite thankful for it.
Yeah, if it was the early 50s, and that was the Korean conflict. So.
Yeah, I think it was it was the Korean conflict then, 50s. Because he's my great uncle, my uncle. So, yeah, my grandfather was in World War II. My great uncle was in Korea, and I believe one of my just above my generation was in Vietnam. But I don't think it was one of my parents' siblings. They get to the last rocket in the lower lighthouse. Whoops. And they manage to get all of the threats neutralized. All the rockets are no longer a problem, however, the VX is, because, well, there's still a string of pearls left on the island, or all that VX is actually still on the island. But the president's speech, where they need a decision, and he's like, how does one weigh human life? 1 million civilians against 81 hostages,
Mm-hmm.
and that we have ignored, marginalized, and made an enemy of, or in the middle, Francis Hummel. That we have ignored, marginalized, and dishonored a man such as, or a soldier such as Frank Hummel is equally as tragic. Meaning, the weighing of human life, not to mention how the government has disrespected Hummel in such a way due to the illegalities of their own decisions. It's like we basically created this problem because we have ignored him. This president is actually willing to not address this to the nation, but address this to his staff. It's like, we did create this problem. And unfortunately, we are at war with terror, and war has casualties. This is the hardest decision I will ever have to make in my life. And he approves the airstrike of thermite plasma.
Mm-hmm.
And they basically, or these pilots are aware that they're essentially going to be killing civilians. And I'm like, or my question to you, as to somebody who has served, if you are given a mission in which, unfortunately, civilians are going to be a casualty, do you want to be aware of that?
So, you broke up there just a little bit. What was the question again?
If you are given a mission to basically go in and neutralize an area, and civilians are an unescapable casualty,
Mm-hmm.
do you want to be aware that civilians are going to lose their lives in this?
Yeah, it's what we would call collateral damage. I don't mean to like basically minimize like their lives to that degree, but that's what is one of the factors that defines our rules of engagement.
Yes.
So we would want, So if I were like being sent in, and I'm like, and I'm told, and I'm not told that, I would be pissed, because that's a huge factor in decision making.
Yeah. I mean, I do agree to a point, and I fully agree. But it's like these pilots won't see these people that they're about to kill,
Mm-hmm.
but they are still. But it's like, do they need to know then? And if they're not going to see them, do they need to know that they're about to kill innocent people?
Yeah, I mean, they would definitely have to know. I was like speaking to someone as a military veteran, because if you were to hide that from them and they were to find out that their mission
it could create bigger
of
problems.
innocent people, like you just created a whole new whole new version of Hummel.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
So,
I mean, you could
that
easily
is something
create
that-
it immediately turns them on those who they trusted to give them proper orders.
Yeah.
But yeah, Trey, it would, or either way, it's basically a no-win situation when it comes to the mental state, because knowing you're going to kill them and then even not knowing and learning later, it's going to fuck with you either way. The person who is, or the people who are carrying a missile or piloting a drone and dropping a missile and accidentally learning that, and learning later on, we didn't kill a terrorist, we killed an innocent family.
Yeah.
That's gonna fuck with you. Because that happened over the last couple of years. To give you guys an idea. But these guys are on their way, and Stanley is fighting him, or fighting Fry or Dara, one of those two. I can't remember which one. And he has one of the pearls that came loose and shoves it in the dude's mouth. He's like, "Eat that, you fuck." And it's like, oh shit, dude. So then he actually has to needle himself because now he has no choice in it. But then he remembers that they have to launch the green smoke.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you see that Carla is freaking out in the FBI command center when the guy is, or when you have that Navy officer saying the amount of firepower they're about to drop in there, it'll be over in a few seconds. It's like, that's still no comfort. She's about to lose her husband, essentially. And she's going to have to raise her child alone.
Mm-hmm.
Well, have you ever heard of the last second scenario, folks?
Yeah.
Because, yeah, it's literally the last millisecond. And unfortunately, one of the pilots dropped his payload. So it's like, oh, shit, I already dropped them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's behind the prison.
Yep. And it's like, when you hear, for me, every time that scene happens, when you hear the guys scream out, "I already dropped them," it's like, oh my God, man.
Yeah.
Or thank God they can confirm and check. But those few seconds after this man just feels like, or those few seconds after the drop, or between the drop and learning, fuck, okay, I'm not in trouble. This dude's mind is basically screaming for help. It's like, oh dear God, I am probably going to go to jail for this or go to prison for this.
At the very least,
but,
go in front of a military court.
Yeah.
Because he dropped them without getting an official order to do so, essentially.
Well, he had the order was given. The order was given in order to do it.
Yeah, but like
you
there
received
is
an abort at the very last
There is
second.
an official order that gives a go to the mission, and then you get an order to drop.
Yeah,
and he dropped before.
They saved that order for the very last.
So, well, close to it, just in case they do have to change, just in case something happens and they do have to abort the mission.
Yeah,
because they do have what's called
abort.
Yeah, so they do have kind of a point of no. There is a point of no return, but at the same time, it's like you wait for, because you always have a flight leader, and you wait for the flight leader.
Yeah.
Like one of those planes, one of them was the one that's responsible for the rest of the pilots. He was the one giving the orders. So when he said abort, all right, like that, the guy who dropped this bomb should not have hit the button at that point. It was, but this is like.
Well, they were told to abort over the radio.
This is basically embellished for the movie, pretty much. So it's for excitement purposes in the movie. But like I said, you wait for it's like if you were dropping bombs from like a B-17 or whatever, pretty much. The bombardier is the one in charge of it, and he's the one who has to say that he's dropping the bombs. So if he gets, if there's any so.
I believe it's called final authorization.
Something like that. It's I've never experienced it, so I don't know know the details, but it is one of those situations where it's you're not
a lot more complicated than what the movie.
Yeah, you have to how do I put this? You're not giving exactly free reign, get here, drop your bombs. No, you are still under a hierarchy. at that
Yeah.
point. So
But yeah, also if you pay close attention to when they drop and when Nick Cage goes flying, the first shot of him flying, you actually see the wires lift him up, and it's like, oh damn. Small little error there, but it's only for eagle-eyed viewers if you are really watching it. And yes, Cal, man, the music for the Green Smoke is top-notch. The music for the entire movie is top-notch, to be completely honest. Yeah. And so then we get the final response from Goodspeed, and he's like, are the hostages alive? Every one of them. Goodspeed, this is Womack. Where's Mason? Fucking really? I mean, it's like, fucking really, dude?
Yeah.
And he looks at he's like, he's dead, sir. How? When? Just come and get me. And Mason looks down because he is sort of disappointed. He's like, why the hell are you saying I'm dead? Now I can't, or now I'm screwed. He's like, so he explains, Womack tore up your pardon. And he's like, well, I figured I knew he would. So he gives him a trip. He's like, if you fancy a journey, I recommend Fort Walton, Kansas. I was thinking Maui. No, forget Maui.
Yeah.
And he hands him a thing. Now, funny thing, folks. Funny thing. I really like this movie for so many reasons, but one specific reason is Nick Cage's last name, or character's last name, Goodspeed, which is one of my family's names, or one of my father's mother, or my grandmother's maiden name is Goodspeed. And so it's like, huh, that'd be cool. That'd be related to Nick Cage. But yeah, it is a small little comfort in it. But yeah, so it's like, Goodspeed, huh? Nice. Good name.
Yeah.
And so we then see it's like Fort Walton Church, front pew, right leg, hollow. Is this what I think it is? Mason?
Yeah.
And Mason goes to the scuba gear that was left on the side of the island where the Navy came in, and is able to make it to shore, grabs $200 out of Stanley Goodspeed's Bible, which he said he could, and some clothes. And he's like, thank you. He's essentially giving Mason a chance out of life, you know?
Yeah.
And then we get them coming up. He's like, so what happened to Mason? Vaporized, blown out to sea. Vaporized, huh? Poor bastard. And so then freaking Womack's like, Goodspeed, where is Mason? I want to see this body. I want to see that son of a bitch. Vaporized, sir. Vaporized?
Vaporized.
The body
happened?
can vaporize?
Vaporized?
It's like,
yes.
Body can vaporize? Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely, sir. And I love that. I mean, he's like, oh, yeah, absolutely, sir. And then he just looks at him directly like, do I look like I'm fucking with you?
Yeah.
So then we get the ending where he is running away from the priest, and the priest is saying vandal because, well, yeah, he busted open the pew, or the front pew right leg.
Yeah.
And it's like, and that's the end. But yeah, honey, you want to learn, or you want to know who really killed JFK, or at least who J. Edgar Hoover thought was going to kill JFK?
Yeah. It is prescient.
But yeah, yeah, and but yeah, William Forsythe, Paxton pulls Womack out there. He's like, you told me I'm on a need to know basis. Well, I need to know or who the fuck. 1950s, J. Edgar Hoover was the head of the FBI. Some say the country. And no secrets. He kept microfilms of everybody, friggin' Ukrainian warlords and all this and that. I mean, this guy had dirt on everybody. Yeah, I know all the cloak and dagger stories. Where does Mason fit in? Mason is the one who stole the files, but our agents caught him at the Canadian border. And we held him without trial until he gave up the microfilm. But he never did. Held without trial for 30 fucking years plus, folks. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? But, yeah. It's like, shit. So, what did you think of this movie? Out of 10. Or out of 10, how would you rate it?
Out of 10, I'd give it an 8, subjectively. There's little things here, and there, but they don't weigh the whatever criticisms or gripes I have. They don't weigh anything down on the movie. It's very enjoyable. You're basically literally thrown into the deep end from the get-go in the movie. You have a clear feeling where, the what type of villain Ed Harris is going to be. So it's not like his change comes out of nowhere. Like, you can see he's set up to be a sympathetic villain. And you understand, while you don't agree with his motive, necessarily his actions, you understand his motivations, where he's coming from. I did enjoy Nicolas Cage's performance. He's incredibly animated in this role, as opposed to the toned down version we got in Con Air. The action sequences were even down to the shootout and the shower, which was just gut wrenching watching it happen. And I love the interaction of I love Sean Connery. Sean Connery typically gives just a stellar performance, and no matter what he's in. But I really love the interaction, the back and forth between him and Nicolas Cage's character. But subjectively, I'd give it a 9 out of 10. It's actually more like a 9.5 out of 10. It's actually kind of close to almost a perfect film. And then
very much. As for me, objectively, yes, there are errors, there are goofs, there's writing issues because they don't clarify the microfilm error, and so you're left to learn that it is, or you're left to assume it's an error because he was caught at the Canadian border and put in Alcatraz for the microfilm crime. So yes, there is writing issues. However, and there is some issues with the wires being shown. But other than that, yes, it does fall to a solid 8 objectively. And I agree with Mara, 9.5 subjectively. Moviegoer, it's an absolute 10 where it's not breaking down. Now, the last fun fact, folks, is the movie was actually screened at Alcatraz, premiered at Alcatraz. And it made $335 million on a $75 million budget. So I would say that is a good success.
I'm going to see what that would be equivalent to now. Just out of curiosity, I'm going to look that up.
Yeah.
1996.
It's probably going to be around. Because there is a website you can use for de-inflation.
Inflation calculator. So 75 million.
Yep. 75 million. Yep. Budget.
Making sure I put the correct number of zeros. So that would be equivalent of just shy of 147,000 today in 2024, and it made how much?
147,000.
What?
Yeah.
Basically, the budget would be equivalent to 147,000 today. So it made what?
335 million. Yeah, 335.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, So basically, if we look at today's dollars, a movie with a budget of like just shy of 147 million would have made $656,290,784.21. So almost 700 million.
I have a deflation or I have a inflation deflation calendar here. Hold on one moment, because I think you're doing the or that.
Yeah.
$1913 to 2024. Okay, good. 75 million in 1996 should not be in the thousands. Probably would be in the millions.
I said 147 million.
No, you said 1,000 originally.
No, I said 147 million. I just saw 147 million. I think I broke up there. It was 147 million, just shy of 147 million.
Probably. Yeah, you probably.
And then
all right, good.
It like made almost equivalent of 700 million in today's dollars in profits or in box office gross.
Yeah. All right. Well, then that actually is pretty freaking good. Holy shit, man. That's like 300 million shy of a billion.
Yeah, it made a profit. So basically, the rule of thumb today is you take the budget, take that times 2.5, and that's the money it needs to make just to break even. And it broke even and then some.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So anyway, that is going to be the stream. Our next singles, because we are not done, is going to be the 31st, where we are ending the Nick Cage New Year streams with Face Off. So yeah, folks, make sure you tune in for that one. My channel, 8 p.m. And Mara, give yourself a plug before we get going. And yeah.
All right, you can find me on my YouTube channel Jade Shadow. Concentrating mainly on streams right now because there isn't too much in the news that I feel any inclination to make a video on, despite no matter if it's trending or not, if I don't care about it. But once Rings of Power Season 2 begins dropping, I'll be making videos regarding that because, the Shields and Defenders will be coming out of the woodwork with articles and tweets leading up to it and during it, and I will be eviscerating that season after it drops. I won't be doing spoiler-free reviews because I figure at this point, no one gives a shit. So I'll just fully break down a spoiler the day after, pretty much. I guess that is my kick. Jade Shadow, I do my game streams primarily there. I'll be live there tomorrow evening playing the finals and Halo Master Chief Collection multiplayer. And that is my Twitch. I'm not there as frequent as I normally would be. Once, maybe twice a week, depending on my schedule. So I'm going to try streaming there maybe Saturday afternoon, but I don't know when the family is going to leave after the birthday celebration. So there it is.
All right. Well, folks, thank you so much. As for me, I will be doing my Orange Hat Uncensored tomorrow night, 10 or a little after 10 p.m. Sunday, I will be doing my Hollywood recap, weekly recap, where I'm going to be picking four different articles and going over their different news. Tuesday is going to be my movie versus movie theme stream, which is going to be Volcano versus Dante's Peak. And then Tuesday night is going to be the Barroom Podcast with Society Reviews. Now that they're no longer discussing that Echo shit that they discussed 2 days ago, I will be coming back and discussing it or discussing the other Hollywood stuff with them then. So yeah. Other than that, check out Mars Kick and other stuff. And you can check out my Critic List stuff on Critic List, my different reviews. And you can also check out my Twitter channel, my YouTube channel. And yeah, alrighty. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Trey Courtney, Gravy D, Mighty Doe Thompson, or Doug Thompson, sorry. Everybody in the chat, Man, Gigawatt, y'all are Kate from Nerd with a Cigar. Thank you all for tuning in. You guys are freaking awesome. Trey Courtney and whatnot. I wish I could thank y'all. Unfortunately, I can't because this thing is getting weird. But yep, thank you to everybody who tuned in. Yeah, I'm not even going to touch it either. But yep. Anyway, folks, this has been Orange Hat and Mara. We will get back to you with the February 1s and 2s and February choice for the singles. So you all have a wonderful day. Take care. And always remember, stay humble.
Good night.